To most people, hell is just a swear word. After all, who really believes in demons, pitchforks, and hot, licking flames? Modern misconceptions of hell have made it a myth to most people. But hell is very real and very certain for those who die without Christ. Once this life is over, unbelievers will face the real terrors of death. Stay with us. From Chicago's Moody Church, this is Running to Win with Dr. Erwin Lutzer, whose clear teaching helps us make it across the finish line. Our current series on Running to Win is all about what happens 1 minute after you die. In this, his 6th message, Erwin Lutzer is asking, can modern man believe in hell? Today, what hell is really like.
Is there literal fire in hell? We don't know that, of course, but if it is figurative, it is something that is still distressing, something that still torments. Remember that people will still have their same desires. They will be given indestructible bodies, but they will not be righteous bodies. They will be sinful bodies. And so here people will continue to crave that which they will never have. Remember in Hades, which is to be distinguished from hell, here it says Hades is thrown into the lake of fire. That's why in a previous message when I spoke on Hades, I think the message was titled The Descent into Gloom, I stressed the fact that no one is in hell today. Hades is to be distinct from that. But here Hades is thrown into the lake of fire. When it says the sea gave up the dead which were in it, that's a reference to the bodies of people who drowned centuries ago. God is going to resurrect them, and their spirits will be joined. Those are the spirits of those who are in Hades, so that they will be whole people, but the same people they were here on earth. Imagine an alcoholic craving for a drop of alcohol, and it's denied him. Imagine those who have cravings and sinful desires that they so abundantly nourished here on earth, and they crave these desires, and there is no satisfaction. That would be a kind of burning, would it not be? A kind of burning, a kind of fire that lasts forever. As for Satan himself, I like what Milton says about him. He said, Satan speaking says, which way I fly is hell. I myself am hell. He is going to be here tormented for his own wickedness, for his own deceit, for his own rebellion. And he will have in his mind the memories of when he was a cheerleader in the ages gone by, worshiping God. And now, as someone has said, he will never be able to sing again. He will only be able to howl. I can assure you of one thing. His judgment is going to be far greater than that of any human being. Far greater. Because he sinned against more light, he had more opportunities, and he was instigating more rebellion. God is just. God is just. How can we speak of this place, this common destination? It is a place of torment. It is a place of torment. Commensurate, of course, with sins committed. People living with their own desires eternally unfulfilled. That in itself is hell. Secondly, it's a place of abandonment. It's a place of abandonment. It says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 9 that Jesus will come, and this is now the meek and mild Jesus that nobody seems to be afraid of in our culture. He will come in flaming fire with his holy angels, taking judgment on those who know not God and that obey not the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ, who will be punished with everlasting destruction. There's the phrase again, everlasting destruction from the presence of the Lord and the glory of his power. Another translation says, away from the presence of the Lord and the glory of his power. A place of abandonment. Will those who are in the lake of fire communicate with one another? We do not know, but if the answer is yes, they probably will only increase their own misery. It's a place of abandonment. And then I need to stress the fact that it is a place of forever, a place of eternity. Notice it says that Satan is tormented day and night forever and ever, and there's nothing in the Bible to suggest that the lake of fire ever ends. Jesus said it is a place, the fire, it is not quenched. It never dies out. Now we come face to face to trying to understand eternity. And how do we do it? We say the word, the concept is there, but after the concept is spoken, we go on to something else, and we can't grasp it, can we? So let me give you an illustration to see if we can get a handle on it at least a little bit. Let us suppose that you are living on this earth, and every 1 million years, now even that's a long time. Even 1 million years is a long time. 1,000 years is a long time, but now we're talking about 1,000,000. Every 1,000,000 years, a bird visits planet Earth. He doesn't show up very often, does he? But every time he comes, he takes 1 grain of sand and leaves to fly to another planet. 1 grain of sand. So there you have some sand in your hand, and he comes and he takes 1 small grain, and he flies away. And there you are with the sand for another 1 million years. And lo and behold, you look at the horizon and he's showing up again, and he's coming for another grain of sand. How long do you think it would take before all the sand in your hand would finally be transported to another planet? Hundreds of trillions of years, really. You know how fine sand is. How long would it take if the bird were to say, well, now that I've taken all that is in your hand, I want to take all the sand on Oak Street Beach? That'd take a while. What about all the sand that is on North Avenue Beach and all the beaches of Chicago and then the beaches of the world? And after he's finished with the beaches, he begins with the mountains. Now, the mountains do not really have sand, but he rubs his beak until a little grain of sand falls off, and that's what he flies away with, and he doesn't return for another 1 million years. You know that after this whole earth were transported to another planet, eternity would not have officially have begun. You mathematicians can correct me on this, but I don't think it's correct to talk about the starting of eternity, because if you say that eternity starts, you give the impression that there is an end, and there is no end, and I don't think you can begin an infinite series. Eternity would not have even gotten started. You say, well, this is more than we can take. People in the lake of fire